Hello and thanks for stopping by. It's time for another pickups video, as I've collected a few trades, I've got a couple of one-offs, and some things that came in that I ordered some time ago, so I thought I'd share. First, we're going to go through the trades. I made a trade with Mark from over at the Dad Racer Show. Thank you for the games. If anything else pops up on our trade list that you're interested in for me, just let me know. You've got some credit with me. Anyway, he sent over some PS2 games that I didn't have. I got a copy of Pac-Man World 2, looking great, Jack 2, and Simpsons Road Rage. This is the one that I'm really looking forward to. Actually, I believe the way it was described to me is it's like Crazy Taxi, and I really like Crazy Taxi. And then they inserted, of course, the Simpsons characters, which is something that really interests me. So I'll probably get to play that, and I'll probably throw up a review in the next few weeks. Next, I have some games sent over to me from 123 Gamerman, a couple of Xbox 360 games, a copy of Gears of War 3, which is interesting because I kind of thought I had this one, but it turns out I did not. I've played some of the other Gears games and I really like them. It's actually pretty fun co-op stuff too. So I'm happy to get this in the collection, thank you. He also sent over a copy of Dark Void. This is a science fiction game and you have a jetpack. I love flying around in games like this, so I'm interested to give this one a go. This is actually one of those games that I'd seen on shelves for so long, but for one reason or another, I guess I just never picked myself up a copy. So I'm happy to have it now, and I'm sure I'll give this one a go soon, and I'll see what it's like. 123 Gamerman, thank you again for the trade. I've got a bunch of retro stuff here too, stuff going back kind of far actually. Most of my stuff comes from this really great retro store and model shop that I like to visit in Pepperell, Mass. A little place called Metal Goblin Games. It's relatively close to me, and since the winter weather has been turning, it's sort of become my go-to place to find interesting stuff. I'll link to the Facebook page in the description. I got some Atari 2600 games. I got a copy of a game called Cosmic Creeps. There were a lot of space games for the Atari 2600. This is just another one for me to put on the pile. I'm always interested to see where these alternate manufacturers of cartridges, this particular company I was really unaware of, it's always interesting to me to see the type of games that they create, because as you know, there's a huge range of quality when it comes to Atari 2600 games. Anyway, that's Cosmic Creeps. I also found a game called Space Jockey. Haven't played this one either, but was happy to find a game in a stack that I didn't actually have, so I'll be happy to give this one a go. Found a couple of Nintendo 64 games. Now, I'm pretty new to the Nintendo 64 as a console, and I know I did a review of Cruisin', I think it was Cruisin' USA, or Cruisin' World, a couple weeks back. I found a copy of Cruisin' Exotica. So fantastic, I really like the other game. We'll see how this one works. I also found a copy of Perfect Dark. And if I recall correctly, Perfect Dark was originally going to be a sequel to GoldenEye. Given that particular fact and knowing how good GoldenEye is, I'm interested to give this one a try, so I was really happy to find this one. Got a PlayStation 3 game. I found a copy of a game called Fracture. The reason I picked this one up was, well, it was inexpensive, and turns out it's a LucasArts game that I didn't know anything about, but LucasArts is a particular company, manufacturer that I really like. So we'll give this one a try, absolutely. I'm up for any LucasArts game that I can find out there in the wild. Got a couple of Xbox games. Found a game called Still Life. This is a thriller, and I did a CSI game review some time back, and I think this is in the same sort of space as that type of a game. It's sort of a crime drama, I believe, but I didn't know it existed. I've never seen it before. So yeah, I'll give this one a try, absolutely. Found a game called Kingdom Under Fire the Crusaders. Not exactly sure what this one is like. I don't know yet if it's like Diablo or if it's sort of a bigger style of combat game, but it was a reasonable price, and it looked different and interesting, so I thought I'd give it a go. Found a PlayStation 2 game called Kessin. This is a strategy warfare game, and PlayStation 2 had a ton of games for it, and a bunch of strategy games too. I'd never seen this one before, and it actually looked pretty interesting. It looks like it's medieval to a certain extent, and we'll be interested to pop this one in and see what it's like. Found a couple of Xbox One games. Just games I didn't have. I got a pretty decent collection of this system, but I didn't have a copy of Dead or Alive 6, and I know the Dead or Alive games are pretty well regarded. I also got a copy of Doom. Now this one I thought I had, but when I went looking through my collection, it turns out I didn't have it. So to have a copy of this version of Doom seems pretty important. I also found Sakiro Shadows Die Twice. This was a game that I've been looking for quite some time. It came out maybe 3 years back now? I think about 3. And it was basically like Dark Souls, but a different sort of setting. And I'm really into that type of game. But for this one, I never wanted to pay the full, like, $60 price. By the time this came out, my backlog collection was so large that it seemed like a poor choice to go out and buy a brand new full-price game, knowing that I already had so many that I had in the backlog. I just didn't know when I'd be able to get to it. But I found this one used at a good price finally, and in good condition, so I picked it up. So I'm very happy to get this one. Now I got some Nintendo Switch stuff here. This is some stuff I purchased from Limited Run Games. Basically, they have an end-of-the-year sale, usually. It's a sort of a clearance they have. You can get their overstock or things that maybe sold out on the website originally, but they usually manufacture, I guess, a little more than they offer to the public. So I'm always happy to pick games up when I run into this. I got a copy of No More Heroes. This was a popular one. It didn't come out for this system originally, but interested to get it. I got Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. I remember when this was first advertised, it was a well-regarded strategy game, and based on the fact that now I could get my hands on one, I figured it was the right time to grab it. I found a copy of Return of the Obra Dinn. This is a black and white sort of unique adventure. I saw a review on this, and it just looked really interesting. You're on a boat, and there's some sort of a mystery that you have to unsolve, but it's got a really interesting style to it, so I thought I'd give it a try. Got a copy of Death's Gambit. I can't say I know much about this one, only that I felt pretty good to actually be able to put it into my cart and have it not sell out. I also got a couple of games from overseas. Occasionally I buy something from Play Asia. They sometimes sell games that don't normally make their way to the States, at least in hard copy form. And sometimes you can get a game over there that it says it's in one language, but it comes with multiple. I believe it's most of the Asia listed games actually have multiple languages in them. And sometimes I find a game that qualifies in that category, which means I can flip it over to English, which is great. Got myself a copy of Final Fantasy IX for the Nintendo Switch. I've got a couple of other Final Fantasy games for the Switch. 9 is one I actually have the original disc for the PlayStation 1. I just never played it. So I figured, okay, maybe I'll be able to compare the two. I don't know. It's nice to be able to play these things in handheld too. Now I also got a copy of Super Robot Wars 30. Super Robot Wars is a really interesting game series. I've got 5 or 6 in the collection already. They're really long strategy games. I'm going to review some in the near future. They take a long time, and there are some pluses and some minuses, I think, to the style of the game. But it's really great to see, and if you don't scoop them when they're first available, they tend to get really pricey in the aftermarket. So I'm happy to find another one of these for the Switch. For the TurboGrafx, I found myself an extension cord for the controllers. It's actually really important for me because I don't want to play with my console on the floor, and it's not a wireless system, so to be able to actually sit down some distance from the television, very important. So I got an extender, happy to have it. I also picked up some interesting nerdy type of stuff. This is just little sort of trinkets and stuff you'd find behind a candy counter usually, at least when I was a kid and candy counters were more common. Just little things you'd find there, like Moonraker trading cards, a 007 James Bond movie. I got some Ninja Turtles trading cards, a Nintendo Game Pack card. I didn't even know these existed. And of course, well, I'm always a fan of wacky packages. I just find these things sort of interesting. I mean, I can't say I have a massive collection. I open them, I review them, put them in a card folder maybe. It's just something I used to get a lot of when I was a kid. So to stumble upon these cards in a modern setting, sometimes it's interesting to pick up some, that's all. Oh, and also I never try to chew the gum. I think probably sitting around for 40 years might make the gum go bad, but I'm just guessing. Well, anyway, thanks for stopping by to take a look. That's all the stuff I've got for this particular session. If you like this type of thing, please feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I hope to catch you on another video. Thanks.